Pauline, what do you think the big challenges are for the life insurance industry in 2014?
Okay, well, you don't really need to be Einstein, I guess, to know what we're focusing on this year. As much as we'd love to be focusing on more strategic things and things like that, the reality is we have to get our house in order, we have to fix up the claims and the lapses to really get a ticket to play in the broader game going forward. So I see this year as being a real year of consolidation, of companies focusing on making sure their claims and their lapses are as under control as possible. I think the issues have been relatively well identified now, and I see this as a year of almost just kind of grinding it out and doing the work and making sure that we start to turn the dial on these things to get us into a position where we can be more sustainably innovative going forward.
So are you for opportunities as well, or mostly for housekeeping?
Well, I think you get both at the same time. Someone once said to me, never waste a good crisis in this industry.
Correct.
So I think what we're seeing is investment into this part of the business that we haven't seen for years.
Yes.
So it really is incumbent on us to take this opportunity to not just be defensive, but to set ourselves up for the future, because let's face it, once we start making good money again, it might be a number of years before we see this level of investment.
Sure.
And I think that investment needs to go into both sustainability and increased customer focus. And I think the magic happens when you get the two humming together and supporting each other, which is absolutely possible.
And Pauline, we're often critical of ourselves as an industry, and others can be critical from the outside that we're not good at engaging with customers. That's our existing customers, people who are our customers but uninsured, who we really want to take out more insurance, and of course those who aren't insured at all. So how do we become a better customer engaged industry?
Yeah, look, it's absolutely critical. I mean, sometimes I flippantly say that the first time the customer hears any good news from us is after they're dead.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's the ultimate in delayed gratification.
Yes.
We completely need to change that. To my mind, it's the core, if there is a silver bullet, which there isn't, but if there is, it's simplicity, and it's putting ourselves in the customer's perspective. What do they want to know? They want to know if something awful and horrible happens that they didn't see coming, they can feed their family and they can put a roof over their head, and ideally they can maintain as much of their lifestyle as possible. And we've got to come back to that and make it easy for them to have confidence around that. I think the problem at the moment is we're too busy throwing in steak knives and confusing the matter, and then you overlay on that this fear in customers that the perception that customers have about how readily we pay out versus actually what we do is so far apart, and somehow or other we've got to connect with them around that fear and give them certainty that we will be there when they need us.
And do you dream for the day when somebody can do a life insurance application in 5 minutes over a mobile phone application? I mean, if you compare us to general insurance, it's if you want a fully underwritten life insurance policy, we've got to take your blood. I mean, it's an invasive procedure. So do you think we'll see the day where electronic health records, etc., will make it very easy for people to apply?
We'll certainly see significant improvements. In some ways, to be honest, I'd rather they just took my blood because it was over in 20 seconds rather than having to fill in the forms. I think filling in the forms are worse. But you're right, we need an absolute breakthrough in that. To my mind, underwriting is all about anti-selection.
Yes.
We can price for variations in the average health of a book as long as we're not getting selected against. So I think the more that we can find ways to deal with anti-selection, then the simpler the underwriting process can become.
Pauline, I have to ask you a personal question. What was your first job in life insurance?
I was, not surprisingly, an actuarial cadet at MLC. Started in the actuarial department on work experience. Unfortunately, I left school and went straight into it.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yes.
So you did want to be a life insurer when you were cool?
Yes. The real question, though, that you should ask me is why I haven't left.
Why haven't you left life insurance?
The reason I haven't left is because I truly believe in what we do. And, this is something to be proud of. People forget this. We don't sell cigarettes. We don't sell even soft drinks or things. We sell stuff that's really good for people.
No, life insurance is a social good, and we have to be better about telling people it is a social good. From the government perspective, the more people who have life insurance, the better it is for them. I mean, we reduce taxes, we reduce reliance on welfare.
Yep.
I sometimes wistfully think about what it was like 150 years ago when there was no welfare and people had to be self-reliant, and life insurers were the way they did that.
Exactly. So we should be proud of what we do.
Yes.
And above that, it's interesting.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a fun place to be.
Excellent.